You are listening to the Body Charge podcast, and I'm your host, Sandy Sanderson. Welcome to the Body Charge podcast. Today's topic is the stealthy corruption of health by seed oils. Evidence is mounting that the proliferation of processed seed oils and trans fats in the food supply has been a significant contributor to cardiovascular disease over the last century, which was quite rare in the 1900s when mostly saturated fats were used in cooking. My special guest today is Cherie Calbom, author of the book The Truth About Seed Oils. In it, she reveals that the science is now showing how industrial seed oils, long promoted as healthy, are actually contributing to inflammation, digestive distress, and low energy disease states. So welcome aboard. Cherie, lovely to have you on the Body Charge podcast.
Oh, thank you. It's so great to be here. I'm so thankful you invited me on your show, talking about one of my favorite subjects. And the truth has been hidden for so long. It's just wonderful to start revealing truth to people all around the world.
Yeah, it's a really important topic. It's so major, how we cook food, how we prepare food, how we eat it, and what kind of things can denature that food, that's rob the food of its good nutrients. And even I've been speaking recently to naturopaths. They're still teaching in schools. The government policy is still seed oil oriented. And even in the natural health community, there's a lot of lack of information on this latest research, which can solve a lot of problems. If you get anomalies and this isn't working well and that's not fixing the problem, well, something's missing. We have to reinvestigate, don't we? We have to reanalyze what we're assuming to be right, which may not be right. And so can you explain to us the difference between saturated and unsaturated fats for the viewers that may not be clear on that?
Yes, and saturated fat has been so demonized. And so we need a little biochemistry or a chemistry lesson, right? Because it's how carbons and hydrogens line up and connect. And a saturated fat means that all the connections, like if you see the little bars, the little lines, if you were looking at chemistry, they would all have carbon or hydrogen connected in a saturated fat. In a monounsaturated, you would have one set of double bonds. In a polyunsaturated, which we're talking about with seed oils, you have more than one double bond. What do double bonds mean? It means a point where this can break and denature and break down into toxic byproduct, free radicals, we've known them as, and they attack cells. What are some of those? Aldehydes and lipid peroxides that are formed when these polyunsaturated oils, known as seed oils, break down, and they break down easily with heat, with different processing. And these oils, the seeds, actually, they were referred to as vegetable oils, but there are no vegetables in them. They are seeds, and they are so highly processed. They're heated to very high temperatures in making the oil, like 500 degrees. That is like horrible.
Yep, that's how they make margarine, isn't it?
Yes, and way above the smoke point of what should be allowed. And that's the point where things denature when the oil or the fat starts smoking. And on top of it, they add chemicals like hexane, which is very toxic. And they say, oh, don't worry about it. It evaporates, it goes away. How much do any of us believe that? I mean, I don't believe that all the chemical would evaporate, but they have other things in there too, degummers and different chemicals in all the different stages, 5 different stages or more of processing of those oils. By the time it rolls out into a clear, odorless oil, it is so denatured, so toxic that there's nothing good about it. And yet they were marketed as healthy, heart healthy. Oh, they said it when it first came on the market in the 50s. This is the modern, new, healthy oil. And people are getting all these heart attacks because that oil came big time on the market during World War II when the coconut oil, the tropical oils couldn't get through the waters. And nobody said, well, what changed in the diet all around the world, primarily? What changed in the diet? Oh, well, a few voices said seed oils, and they got drowned out and they got defamed.
It's
And
not good for business, right?
oh, it was terrible for business, and it's big business. So, speaking of business, it is projected, the seed oil business is projected to be 600 billion in 2031. That's
Hmm. It's still growing big.
growing time. And so it is up to us, you and I, and the people listening and grassroots level to get the word out all over because it's not going to get legislated. There isn't going to be some law outlawing seed
Has
oils.
has
Too
to
strong.
be grassroots awareness. Yes, I've heard some other researchers referring to margarine and the processing of it as changing the molecules so it's closer to plastic than real food. And because the cell membrane is made up of a lipid bilayer, so two layers of fats that create the boundary between the inside and the outside of the cell. And that has channels that need to open and close. So you get nutrients in, you have waste products coming out. And the cell membrane is very intelligent, needs to control the integrity of that. And it's relying on good fats to do that, isn't it? So when the body has no choice and has to absorb the mimicking or pretend fats,
Hmm.
let's give them a name.
Yeah, I like pretend fat.
Yeah, it's they don't offer the same benefits and can cause a lot of problems with the cell membrane being able to eliminate wastes, to bring nutrients in. That transit and the operation of the channels in the membrane is affected because we need the fats basically to insulate electrical activity as well. The whole nervous system relies on good fats. Can you expand a little bit more on the difference when we have saturated fats in our diet? How does that affect our health in comparison?
Yes, so saturated and monounsaturated are the good ones, like olive oil and coconut oil and avocado oil, um, and almond and macadamia and sesame. Those would be the ones to choose as the good ones. And I love what you said about the cell membrane. And I just want to point out when we don't have enough of the right fats in our diet, what is the body going to choose when it's time when the cell membrane, the cells need a fat replacement, right? They're going to choose the inferior. They're going to choose what we call the plastic oils, the non-real, and it's going to insert them in there, and that is going to throw everything off because now we don't have a proper fat in there. Whereas if we had some good saturated fat, like coconut oil is one, butter is one,
Mhm.
tallow is another
And
one.
ghee,
Ghee, oh, I love ghee. Oil of butter. People go, what's ghee? The oil
yeah,
of butter. And
clarified butter, yeah.
yes, all of those are good fats and saturated fats, and we need them. And I want to point out one thing, the fat around the heart, C16, C18 is what I know them as, are saturated. And the heart draws on this saturated fat in times of stress. And how many times I have heard from someone, oh, he was so fit. He was jogging and just dropped over from a heart attack and he was on a low fat diet. I've heard this said to me so many times, into health and on a low fat diet, and my brain just the lights go on and say, oh my goodness, I don't think that was the right diet, right? Because if we're rejecting all saturated fat, we should not be doing that. Our heart needs it. Our whole body needs it. Our brain needs it. Our brain is largely fat
Yeah,
and water, a lot of water, a
fat
lot
and
of.
water.
Mhm.
Because it's the electrical system. So the heart and the brain produce the most electricity. When you get those scans and the lightning's going off, that's energy.
Yes, yes, and we need it. And we have been told the opposite, of truth, that we should be on a low fat, no saturated fat diet. We should be choosing these inferior oils and things like margarine, Crisco, plasticized, I call them fats, and they are harmful, and they have been proven now in scientific studies. And we have a lot of those studies noted in our chapter 2 of the Truth About Seed Oils, how they are connected to heart disease, to cancer, to metabolic disorders, to emotional issues like anxiety and depression, and even aggression leading to homicide. It's like, oh my goodness, on every level, you can see problems connected to these oils. And when they came on the market was about the time that heart disease started going up. If you look at
Yep.
the bar graph, before
It's
it
a
was,
direct correlation.
yes, it was low. And then right after the war, right after World War II, you see a spike in heart disease, and people were scared and they wanted answers. So scientists went to work and they did autopsies, and they found in arteries those little mounds, those little buildup of fat and cholesterol and calcium and the plaque, they call it, of course. And why was the plaque forming? Because the arteries were being irritated. And one doctor, cardiologist, said it's like scrubbing. He said thousands of arteries, and it's like being scrubbed with a bristle brush on
Yep.
the interior, and those poor little arteries. Now they need help. They need a scab kind of thing on the inside because they're wounded. And what wounded them? Seed oils, sugar, additives, all of those things are very hard on the arteries.
Yeah, sugar actually produces a lot of acidic byproducts, and the sugars also denature lipids in the body because lipids are like our ambulance, they're our paramedics. So they insulate, so they go to places that are, as you said, injured. And what causes the injury is usually drop in pH, acidification, which is, a big culprit is the seed oil consumption. And because they oxidize very quickly, so we get more oxidizing elements coming in that makes us acidic, that creates that acidic scratching of the whole vascular system, the lining. And what does the body do? It sends calcium deposits because calcium is used as an alkalizing mineral when there's not enough magnesium. So we don't want to get overloaded with calcium. So in my readings and research over 17 years, I've read various books and many, many studies about magnesium to do because I was supporting Elektra Magnesium, which is my business. We produce transdermal magnesium products, creams, lotions, sprays, to assist in absorption of magnesium because we're not getting enough from the food supply, and stress causes excessive magnesium loss. So magnesium is essential, as you would know, for the mitochondrial production of ATP. So that's our electrical energy conduit. And we need the electrical system to work to fuel all the body systems from brain to heart to all the organs, making new cells. Everything relies on power. And when magnesium drops, then you get hypersensitivity creeping in, and calcium leaches out of the bones and settles in the soft tissue and joints, including the lining of the arteries, the whole vascular system, and that makes them stiffer. So that contributes to high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, and as the pressure of the vascular system builds, tiny little microsplits emerge in the endothelial lining. And as an emergency precaution, the body sends cholesterol fat plugs because you don't want to leak out. So they're just an ambulance, they're paramedics. So
Yeah.
that whole thing about cholesterol has been demonized very, very unfairly. And what they're doing with medications is robbing people of valuable cholesterol because it doesn't discriminate between this type of cholesterol and that type of cholesterol. It steals all of the cholesterol, including what you need for your brain, for your heart function. So it can actually give you heart attacks. It's
Yes.
so upside down, right?
are so upside down, and I'm so glad you brought it all up. And that whole crazy cholesterol myth, it's truly a myth. And it came on the scene as just an explanation for why these bad seed oils were causing heart attacks. And let's blame it on something. So we'll blame it on cholesterol. And they've done numerous studies and found as many people die of heart attack, heart disease with low cholesterol as with high. There's, and the Wynn Institute, I believe it was in London, determined there's no correlation between heart disease and cholesterol. And yet, that was the lipid hypothesis that Ansel Keys, he was kind of the father of this whole heart healthy, low saturated fat diet, came on the scene and gave it as an answer to why we were having these problems. And the seed oil companies loved it because now it's promoting them. They can step in and say, we're the heart healthy vegetable oil, and everybody should go with us. You're right, the whole thing flipped upside down. And now decades later, we're trying to right that ship, and it's a tough one because there are so many billions of dollars behind promoting its health.
Well, you can see on the supermarket shelves all the advertising on for yogurts and all the products, fat-free, low fat, and it's loaded with sugars. It's just the opposite, the total opposite. It really is crazy and makes no scientific sense at all. But they do it because big money wins the day, doesn't it? It seems to win
Oh,
the day.
yeah, because they have the dollars for slick advertising that gets people's attention. They have the lobbyists that can go to the government and lobby for this product staying on. They can, I don't know if they threaten people, what they do to make sure that the government doesn't talk about the dangers of the seed oils. And so here we are, still stuck decades and decades later, with not much having changed as far as heart disease and cancer and metabolic disorders and all the things that these seed oils are causing.
Yeah, we have a lot of long-term research as well, such as Western Price Foundation, that have looked into traditional cultures, and they found direct correlation with the amount of animal fat being consumed from the natural environment and the size of the brain, which is grew. So intelligence grew because they were on the right kind of diet. So let's talk more about the ideal kind of a diet or amount of fat percentage wise, because they recently turned the food pyramid upside down in America, from what it was, because many have accused that old pyramid of causing diabetes. And there's a lot of evidence to support that, where they had grains and wheat and a lot of processed grain foods as the biggest part of the pyramid. And
Foundation.
that high density carbohydrate causes a lot of extra acidity, which then makes oils rancid. It oxidizes them more easily and causes lipid peroxidation. So it's good that they turned the pyramid upside down and made that a smaller component, but more work needs to be done. What do you think?
Oh, I was thrilled that we got it at least flipped so that we don't have up to 11 servings of grains a day recommended on the pyramid. It's like, oh my goodness, the whole day is carbs, which is pretty much for some people, their whole day is just about carbs. But now we're looking at the foundation being more animal um, proteins, good fats, being at the foundation, which I'm all for. And so, just as you said, so much research on fats being the opposite of what they've told
Yep,
us.
and good for your liver.
Yes, yes, good all the way around. Um, and this, I believe, is one of the reasons that children have struggled so much in school, because they haven't had the fats for their brain. So, how much fat should we have? About 30% of our diet. And of that, we need some of that fat to be omega 3s, good. good oils, good seeds. And what are those? Like flaxseed oil, hemp and hemp seed oil, um, evening primrose oil or borage are good supplemental ones. Fish oil, fatty cold
Yeah,
water,
fish oil is great.
wild caught. And
Or
these,
krill. Krill.
yes,
Yep.
really, what we've just named, a lot of people would scratch their heads and go, "What's that?" Um, that tells you how much omega-3 are people getting? Some people, almost none.
Mm.
And where are we as far as the balance? We should be 1 to 1 omega-6, which is dominant in our seed oils, to omega-3s, 1 to 1, or 4 to 1 max. Where are we? Average about 15 to 1. And for some people, the more, they say 15 to 17 to 1. Well, that is tragic because our brains need the omega-3s desperately. Our heart needs it. Our skin, our hair, everything, our whole body
Yep.
needs omega-3s. So it's time to say, let's bring some balance,
Yep.
cut back on these seed oils and shop with your magnifying glass is what I tell people. I've got one with a light, or take a picture and just blow it up on your phone
Yep.
so you can see what's in there.
Well,
And
it's so much tastier eating the right kind of fats and more fat, and it's very satiating. You're not always hungry and looking to eat something because you're satisfied for a long period of time. And when you're burning the fats, you go into ketosis, and when you make ketones, that's really good for your brain as well, and they help you create new cells. They rejuvenate the body, and it's great for the hormones and the endocrine system. Just the list of benefits is endless, really.
oh, absolutely. And where do people hear that? Everything is still kind of geared around get the fat out of your diet, get your cholesterol
Yeah, they're
weight.
worried about their weight. So can you explain a little bit more about the wrong link between the consumption of fat and the perception that it will make you fat?
Yes. So along came the 80s when the weight loss diets were all low fat or no fat. And what did they substitute in place? Sugar, because you've got to have something for flavor. I remember the muffins, and everybody was making applesauce muffins because there was no fat in there, and they had to have something in there to even hold it together. Well, what happened with weight? That's when we started seeing obesity climb, 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 and it's never overall gone back down. Overweight and obese is somewhere in the 60 to 70% of
Wow.
of the US population. Um, it has been a tragedy and a travesty because the liver likes to burn these fats, especially like the coconut oil fat. It loves to
Yep.
burn
And it's
MCT.
cleansing. I believe the liver uses fats to clean itself to help detox.
Yes. And if we're not getting the fat, if we're not getting something that's going to get our metabolism going, get your metabolism up, that's what I always say. It's not about just counting calories. It's not about removing the fat. It's about getting your metabolism up. And so along came coconut oil in the early 2000s. And I wrote the coconut diet. So I was one of the
Oh,
authors that helped bring coconut
I love
oil
coconut oil. Yeah.
onto the market. And at that time, we were all writing about weight loss and coconut oil, saturated fat helping people lose weight. And they were. And they were losing weight in large numbers. People were stirring in a tablespoon into their morning coffee or spreading it on their toast. And it was really, really helping people lose weight. And then suddenly, we sort of lost track of that concept and
Yep.
went back to the no fat. And still, it is touted, it is exploited, the no fat or the low fat diet, and people equate it with
Well,
being overweight, and
the
it's not.
elephant in the room, I think, is the connection with insulin release. When you burn the good fat, you're not using insulin. And insulin and cortisol are released with carbohydrate consumption. So that's what the body uses to make fat, visceral fat.
Yes.
So you're more likely to get fat from carbs than you are from eating good fat.
Absolutely. And I totally adhere to the low carb diet because of that. So that's probably why paleo and carnivore are really growing in popularity
Yep,
right
they're
now.
trending big. Yep,
Mhm. Because it works. It really does work. When you get those carbs down, the sugars down, the grains that turn to sugar quickly and easily, you're going to notice a big difference in your weight loss and how you feel and your energy and how you think and how your brain functions and your sleep. Everything starts working better. And when you sleep better, that also helps with weight loss. And a lot of
yep,
people don't sleep well today.
yep.
And I believe in part, well, it's all of this stuff. The
It's a
system is all,
background anxiety, isn't it? It's like the fight or flight doesn't switch off for you to be able to sleep. And I learnt this with magnesium. Magnesium helps calm the electrical nervous system, but it works very closely with the good fats. They're like great partners, like water, good fat, and magnesium are probably the magic trio to make sure you have enough of.
and so many people are magnesium deficient. Um, uh, One doctor that my husband sees, it tells him that all the time. Everybody's magnesium deficient. You need more
Yep,
magnesium. And it's
yep,
true. We all
yep,
need, and along, you're right, along with our good fats. And so we've got to get more of omega 3s and more of the saturated fats and the good fats and oils. And so again, though, we want to be discriminatory because we want healthy, clean animal fats. So we want pastured and organic whenever possible for like butter, ghee, tallow.
yeah.
And then for our oils, we want good oils, cold pressed.
Cold
And
press for your salads, but don't
mm,
heat them up. Use the
no,
saturated fats for your cooking, right?
yes, except that
So,
you avocado oil has a high smoke point.
oh,
And
good. Yeah.
yeah, it's up to almost, well, 480.
Mhm.
Some say even 500, but avocado oil is a good one. If you're going to use some heat to heat something up, then avocado is a good choice. Coconut and olive oil, you need to keep the temperatures a little lower. In The Truth About Seed Oils, we have a chart on smoke point, and
Mhm.
smoke point is a very important thing to consider. How many times have we put oil on the stove? Turned around, just you think just a minute to do something, you come back and it's all
It's
smoke.
overheated. Yeah.
Right? It's denaturing. It's creating toxic byproduct.
So we're coming to a close, but what you're saying is so interesting, and there'll be probably a lot of people that want to know more or find out about your book. Where should they go?
So they can come visit me at Juice Lady Info. I'm also known as the Juice Lady and a proponent of juicing, but I have information up there about my book. So juiceladyinfo.com. And the book is The Truth About Seed Oils, and Amazon's got it. It's going to be everywhere that books are sold. We have over 50 recipes, delicious recipes of how to incorporate the different fats and oils into your diet. And I'll say it again, the smoke point chart, which is so important to know which oils you can heat and which you can't. And that really is going to help you from denaturing your oils and fats in your own kitchen, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely essential knowledge. Good, good ammunition to lead a healthier life.
Yes, absolutely. We need all the help we can get. We're bombarded on every side
Yep.
with bad product. And then we've got a shopping guide and some apps you can get to download when you go shopping. Like Bobby Approved is an app you can get right on your phone, and you can enter any product and see where it stands on rating. And then there's the Seed Oil Scout as well, helping you more with restaurants, but also foods as well. So those are a couple of apps, but we've got a lot of information on the Wise Shopping Guide that'll help you to get a healthy kitchen going and eat out in restaurants that are healthier.
Wow, you've done so much work. Thank you so much for what you do. And I'm much appreciated.
Thank you. Thanks for your work and your work on magnesium. I
Oh,
really appreciate that.
it's my passion. Everyone has their thing to do, right?
It all fits together.
It does. Thank you so much, Cherie. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I hope you liked this conversation and will share it with others. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. If you want to listen to other Body Charge conversations, click like, subscribe, the bell icon and click all notifications. Subscribe to our newsletter to get updates on blogs, podcasts, videos, and magnesium special offers at electromagnesium.com.au. Relax, recharge, and recover.